this is Katrina Brittingham, helping to guide you to the next destination in your career. It is a episode of High Tea with me, and as you can see, the background is a little different because aside from this, I do teach, um, young kids, and it is actually graduation season for our college graduates and our high school graduates. With that being said, you have some people who are going to go to college from high school or vocational school, or you have those that are going to enter directly into the workforce, and you have those who are graduating from college who now have their degree and they want to find a job. I have been in this situation before. Honestly, when I graduated college many years ago, it actually took me a whole year to find a job. I had the degree, the market had turned, and uh, many even of my friends who had went to college were looking for positions, and so there weren't too many jobs, and there were a whole lot of people who were graduates looking for jobs. And I mean jobs in the area of your degree, something you could use your degree for. Because I could have got a job at McDonald's or a retail location, but it's the same job that I could have had if I hadn't gone to college. Now the economy is a little bit different, and they're looking for skilled labor. You have people who are retiring out. You also have five generations counted. Five generations, which is unprecedented in the workforce. People are retiring later if they retire at all, and some you have the millennials who are going into the workforce, and the Gen Zs starting to come into the workforce as well. So here we go. um, to find a good job or to find your footing in a job, I do have some suggestions. I wrote them down on here. I know you can't really see it, but I wrote them down. And one of the things you can do is, as my background says, you can be a teacher. You can teach online. You do not necessarily have to have a teaching degree to teach online English as a second language to children who are in China and Korea and things like that. Meaning you don't have to have your degree when you first start. The program that they have will take you through the training that you need to get your certification. You just need to have a bachelor's degree. So if you've graduated college, you have your bachelor's degree, even if you have your master's degree, you can apply for the position and they will take you through the process. Yes, you do have to study a little bit more to get your certification so you can teach online. The good part about that too is that it is pretty much freelance. So you pick your time. It is based on Beijing time, which if you are on the East Coast like myself, 8 p.m. your time is 8 a.m. their time, and vice versa. So I do most of my work for the company that I work for during the early morning hours, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. I can do that before I start my day. So you can do it before you go to work, say if you're still having to work retail, or if you're working the job and say the money that you thought you were going to be making after taxes has come in, FICA and all of those other taxes that you might not be used to has eaten away at your salary and you have student loans. I had student loans coming out of school. So I know what that feels like, if that makes sense, to have the student loans and to sit there. So all of a sudden, I'm out, and here's my graduation cap. Whew, I got my degree. I'm going to make all this money. Reality sets in. Psych. You do not have a whole lot of money, coming out of school. And all of a sudden, you start getting those notices from the government saying they want their money. So it's a way for you to make extra money. I have been actually working with the online program for a month. So I'm going to be real with it. I had not thought about teaching online to students that were children up until this point, because everything else that I looked at was tutoring. Um, and it was very, very low pay. You had to spend a lot of time online trying to get students. With the company that I work for, VIP Kids, you pretty much put your schedule out there and parents select you. So I like that. I'm not gonna lie, it started real slow. I wasn't getting anybody, and I was like, okay, well, at least I haven't spent any money, um, and everything, because you do have to get class supplies. You do have to get props, for your students, little puppet. You do have to get props. You do have to get whiteboards, with things on them. You do have to get maybe some toys, a toy egg, toy banana. Um, I had some other items and some games. Um, little star system, yay, for my kids, and everything. Um, letters. These are the paper ones in the interim of me finding magnetic ones for my magnetic whiteboard. So you do have to invest a little bit of money. I'm not going to let you think otherwise. Uh, I had dry erase things from when I was in corporate, and everything, and I brought the dry erase thing. This is a sticker that you can kind of put on your wall, and it works just like a whiteboard. You can write on it, erase it. It's awesome. Uh, so you do have to invest a little bit of money to get started. You see the map, you want it to have a classroom feel. I'm still not done um, setting things up the way I would like it so it can look more classroomy. I want to kind of have a shelf or something that I can put the toys and stuff that I have bought and the props that I have bought, so I can kind of just reach back. Hey, here's this. Right now, I'm a little I'm organized, but not as organized as I would like. You also have um, little flashcards, um, things and, that you cut out. Um, I bought flashcards from the dollar store to help me with certain things. Colors. This is cheap. Um, and everything. So you have different things that you can do. It's children from ages 3, and I haven't done anyone that young yet, but up to 13, 14, I believe. I pretty much have the middle range, people that are like 8 to the oldest, I believe was 11 that I worked with, um, and everything. I've done well over 10 classes, um, uh, you know, and then it was pretty much in a week's time. At first, I wasn't, like I told you, I've been there for a month. It's been 30 days. And at first, I wasn't getting anything and everything. And all of a sudden, overnight, boom, I had a full booming schedule and everything. And so I started kind of rapid fire in the morning, doing classes. I spaced my stuff out to be have a half an hour in between, and I found that that was kind of wisdom because at first, when you're taking your first classes, it's like you have the nerves, um, and everything, because you're like, okay, I really want to do a good job. I'm teaching children who speak Chinese, so if I kind of go off script, they're not going to know what I'm talking about, and they're going to be looking at me kind of. But what I would say is the training that they have is really good. You have teachers who are telling you, how to do things, and how to make the classroom environment a little more welcoming. And it wasn't as bad as I thought, because um, even though they're not necessarily fluent in English, they have a basis because they're taking English in their regular classrooms. And this is extra. This is an extra class that they're taking. So you will get a sense of how the child is. You do have children who, just like in a regular class, may not be focused. And, the training that they take you through in the beginning, I was just going through the paces, but it really did help me with dealing with the online environment, patience, how to bring the kids back. And the props help, especially like you have a kid in their bedroom, they could be bouncing around on their bed. And so you have to try to be creative. Like I'll take, my little puppets, like, Monkey wants to sing. Come on, what's going on? I had one kid totally go like this in the screen and was going. And I was like, hey, where you go? Hey, what happened? Oh, hello, hello, hello. Just to try to get the kid laughing and engaged. And I got the kid engaged really fast, and we were able to move on with the lesson. I don't know if he was testing me to see how I was going to react to it. But and you learn how to, as you can see, I talk with my hands, but to use TPR, get them to use full sentences. So if you say, oh, do you have a dog? And they say, yes. You was like, yes, I have a dog. And they see that, okay, number one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Hmm. Yes, I have it. So they know how to do those things, and that's just a little bit of the tip of the iceberg of the TBR's grammar and things like that, and math, and so there's a way for you to make some good money. You can make anywhere between $100 a month to $500 a month. Like there's people who are putting in, full time hours. I don't put in full time hours um, at this point. But I will say that I absolutely love teaching online. These are my kids. That's how I feel. These are my kids that I'm teaching online, and it's bright and early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and I've always woke up early. But I found when I got in my career, sometime that even though I was an early riser, I didn't want to get out of bed. This makes me want to get out of bed because the kids are so lively. It's so interesting. The classes are about a half hour long, and that half hour flies by. And everything. So you learn how to pace yourself and time yourself, and just to get the things in that need to get in, make sure that they're doing what they're doing, having some extension activities and everything for them. And I just have a ball, with teaching the children and their reactions and things like that. It's not bad at all. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. That's my experience. But again, that goes with your personality because I've always been a teacher, a trainer, a teacher. So I was able to take the training skills that I've had because I've always kind of, tutored young children from the time I was, you know, in school. I was tutoring my cousins, and when I got to college, I did a program over the course of the school term. I did 2 semesters where I had a whole actual tutoring class basically that had people from children from elementary school on to high school, and I had to figure out a way, and they were all in one room. I had to figure out a way how to engage every last child in that class, and to help them to get to the levels that they needed to be. um, I was able to do that. Then I moved into mentoring and training college students, and from there training people in my career, and then I became a career coach, which is the purpose of this. So I went to that, and now here I'm back full circle teaching young children. So it does depend on your personality. If you didn't like children before this, then this is not for you. Um, you don't want to go into that. But if you are patient and you like working with kids and have tutored kids, have a training knack, then try it out. It's different than a classroom because you're not sitting with 30 students. You're there with one student. You're able to pinpoint the areas where they need help, and you can help them in real time because they're sitting right in front of you. So I would say that's an option. The next one. Oh, and let me say, the company I work for is not the only company where you can teach ESL online. They have ones for people who are not Chinese speaking, for other areas of the world, Spain, um, I don't know all the countries, but that have the programs. But I know Spain has one. I know that there's a European company, but I'm not sure if they are teaching French, Spanish, or still Chinese, or Asia or Asian country. But there are a lot of ones that teach you how to get the certification so you can teach English as a second language. There are programs that will actually get out. I found out actually today that will send you to China for 1 year. And so you have to be able to dedicate 1 full year, and you'll have a Z visa to work and live in China and teach English. And you don't have to know Chinese. They say, okay, the signs and everything in Chinese. There are people who know in China who know English, and so you be able to get along. But basic living Chinese is good for you to have, and they actually, if you want to, will train you on Chinese free of charge. They will pay you a certain amount of money. I think it's like 15,000 uh, RMB, which I believe is yen. I'm not really sure what that is just yet. Um, and they pay you that, which amounts out to about $2,000 a month. But the cost of living over there is different. And they said that if you um, are living over there and you eat Chinese food instead of trying to eat the American cuisine that they have there, like every country has like an American cuisine. Like when I traveled to Spain, um, they had McDonald's, they had Kentucky Fried Chicken, everything, but it was so high priced. It's like going to a authentic Italian restaurant in the US. You're going to pay some money for that. And so it was the same thing. It's like, okay, this is American food, but if you eat that, they say you should have plenty to pay your student loans, to send money back home if you want to send money back home. Um, and everything. They do pay for your flight over there. They pay for a hotel for about 2 weeks because I guess they're figuring that after 2 weeks you should be able to find an apartment, or they help you find an apartment in that 2 weeks. Like I said, it's still a lot that I don't know because I just discovered it, today. But it's another option. So say if you want to go and stay abroad and you couldn't do it in the study abroad program with school, this is your opportunity. And they, instead of you trying to work up the finances to go abroad like you did in the study abroad program, with school, they actually pay for you to go over there, and they pay you a salary, and you get bonuses if you do well. And you're actually in a classroom. So this one will be classroom setting, and they do have the option for online too. So you can go over there and still teach online. I'm still not sure if that's a whole full class or is that one-on-one, how they do that. But I found it a little interesting. So that's good if you don't have any children, or even if you do. I mean, you're going over there, but and living for a year. So it really depends on, what you want to do, how old your children are they school age, So it is what it is. It's an option. I don't want to ramble. But it is definitely an option that I was looking into because I thought it was a little interesting. And I, my everything is online. So even if I decide to go over there, I have other things that I do that are online. So my business and everything I can is portable. The next thing we have, and I spent 20 minutes talking about talking about teaching online, which lets me know that I really do love it. Um, is if you cannot find a job right away out of college, which was my headache, as I said, going in. It took me a whole year, and it's been a while since I came out of school, undergraduate. So things changed. Like the internet wasn't even as prevalent as it is now, where like we do everything online. When I was just coming out of undergraduate, um, you had internet at college. You might have had it on in the library, network connections. If you had a job, they had the network. But most of the time at home, it was dial up, like really like dial up, AOL. You've got mail. Yes, I'm dating myself. So you had that, and pretty much, like I said, it was basically email. It wasn't the whole what we have now, where you can like basically you run your life online, and everything, and you can teach somebody way across the globe, and you're in the U.S. and they're somewhere else, and they see you here. A lot of people that are watching this are watching from other countries. We did not have that. Um, when I was coming out. So the other option you have is what I did, to get experience, to get my foot in the door, to find out if it's a company that I necessarily wanted to work for, is I went to a staffing agency. Now they're called staffing agencies. They were called temp agencies when I was going. And most of the work, actually all of the work was temp work, but you had the long-term temp work and you had the short term temp work that could be 2 weeks because someone was on vacation or got sick, or a month, or 3 months, or 6 months because someone's on maternity leave, um, and up to a year. Now you have long term temp, whereas it's like, okay, we don't know how long this is going to be temp, and we're going to keep extending you until we get this project done, this work done, get through our law, or maybe we'll decide at the end we want to hire you. But then you have the permanent placement, which is they actually work as the recruiter and the talent acquisition specialist, for the company, and actually help them get people hired in, as a full-time employee, full-time permanent employee. So you have that. You have the 3 month contract, 6 months contract, year contract. So you still have that, but you can go in on a temp assignment, as a someone who's just graduated, from college or even high school, and get some real world experience. You have the temp agency behind you who say, okay, this person has these skills. We confirmed they had it. We tested them, for these skills, or we trained them. Like if you're doing high school, or whatever, you're doing administrative work, they have tests for Excel, basically the office packages, to get you in the door to work. And that's what they did. I went to a health insurance company, had no real experience. They trained me on coding. I took the test, I passed it. I started work that Monday, and I was there, in training, and I was there for almost 20 years, as an employee. So that started my career. Um, Prior to that, I did do temp work as a college student. So you heard that I did some teaching. Well, when that kind of road kind of ended, because it was work study, and I needed something a little more full time instead of 1 or 2 hours to help me get through college, I went to a staffing agency and I was like, okay, I'm in the summer months and I need some work. And so they had, temps that would work during the summer months, and everything at companies. They like companies knew, like, you have college students that are coming out, they looking for work. We have a short term project that will pretty much last 3 months. We're gonna bring in this temp to pay. The good thing about it is too, the temp work paid more than work study, a whole lot more than work study. And so I was able to go in there, and that's what actually gave me my work experience to get the position that I got later, because along with the coding experience, they were looking for other soft skills and things like that, and Word and everything that I was able to get working as a temp during the summer months. So getting a temp position is like an excellent opportunity, because when I was working over the summer and things like that as a temp, pretty much by the time I got tired of doing whatever it is I was doing, I was going on to the next assignment. Sometimes it just wasn't a good fit for me. It wasn't a good cultural fit, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There different companies have different cultures, and so they look for people who fit their culture, and it could be that it's just not a cultural fit for you. That's fine. You can go, and the assignment will end, and you can go to another company, and that company may be the perfect cultural fit. Case in point, when I got my job in healthcare, that company was the perfect cultural fit for me, which is why I was able to stay that long, because they trained. Now they trust me. They did not hold my hand at all, but they provided the training for me to learn. They had a team lead who helped you when you got on the floor. But one thing she said to me, she said, "I'll answer your question once, maybe twice. After that, I'm not even going to acknowledge you if you ask me the same question." So she was like, "Here's your notebook. What's that in your hand? Your notebook. Write notes." And that shaped my life. I made sure I wrote things down. I made sure I went back to my book to answer my questions before I went to my team lead to ask her questions, because I knew she might answer me a second time, but that third time, she wasn't going to answer my questions. And so I didn't want to be in a place where um, I wasn't getting my questions answered. So, you know, I can't say every company is like that. I just say that that company was, and it was a good fit for me, um, and everything like that. So, I was able to have the thumbs up. It was great for me. Um, so, for me, it was a great fit. And so we're coming to the end of our session today with High Tea with me. Thank you for sitting and talking with me. But this is for the college students because it is May. I am actually a little bit late getting this out because I like to get it out in the beginning of May because some graduations have already taken place. Um, I just wanted to provide you with some options because not everybody comes out of college. Some people come out of college with a job. I did have a friend when she graduated college, she had a job lined up and they were ready to hire her from the internships that she did. When I went to school, where I went to school, there were no internships for me. I applied to some. Um, Others just wasn't available for me for my major and everything like that. And I wanted to do an internship where I wasn't in and I'm dating myself, in a file room all day. And those tended to be the internships that I was getting. So when you have a internship where you're just in a file room all day, you don't really have the other skills, the office skills and everything that you need to go out and do things. And I was a business major. So I didn't have the skills to do the business stuff that they wanted me to do. So, it is what it is. And if you fell into that category, or maybe you had to work while you were in school to help pay for school, to pay for your living situation. Everybody's situation is different going to school and going to college. So if that is the case, then you can go and get the temp assignments. If you are going to college and you're coming out of high school, you can get a temp assignment that will help you to get some work experience while you're working. And so I'm going to end this here. Thank you for another episode of High Tea with me, and have a good night.